This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, good morning, welcome back.
Good morning, sir.
Can you see my screen, everyone? Yeah. So yesterday we discussed about which concept we discussed yesterday? Storage, right? Previous volumes, S3 bucket, snapshots, right? Anyone having any questions on that? Any questions on previous volumes, S3 bucket, snapshots? Yeah. Today we are going to work on. We are going to discuss about IAM. First, we discuss about IAM. After that, CloudTrail is monitoring tool. So two concepts we are going to cover today. So first one is AWS IAM. What is IAM? IAM is a identity and access management. So this is very important concept, right? So in real-time projects, everyone use IAM account only. We don't use root account. Root will be disabled. So from everyone, like fresher to directors level, everyone use IAM account only, right? So it is all about user management. It is all about user security and user management, right? Yeah. So what is IAM? Why? What are the use cases in real-time projects? If you get a chance to work on IAM, it's what we have to perform, right? So we'll try to understand. Yeah. What is IAM? IAM is a web service. IAM is a web service that helps you to securely control to your AWS account. IAM is a web service that helps you to securely control to your AWS resources and also control who is authenticated. Who is authenticated? Authenticated means who is signed in. Authentication means signed in, and who is authorized, who is authenticated, who is authorized. Authorized means who has permissions, right? Yeah. So here IAM allows you to manage. IAM allows you to manage users and their level of access to the AWS console, right? Yeah. Now we have some features available, more important features available in IAM. So we'll try to understand. So first one, centralized control of AWS account. What is centralized control of AWS account? So we'll try to understand. Yeah. So whatever users we create, so normally in real-time projects, if you get this chance to work on IAM, if you are a senior DevOps engineer, you have to create users, you have to maintain the users, right? So whatever users we create centrally, so that users we can control centrally, right? So we can create, control, rotation, cancellation of each user centrally. For example, one user joined the project as a fresher. We give limited access. Initially, we give limited access, right? So slowly, we add some permissions. We give some access, right? So when you apply on the console centrally, that will be reflected to the users. Okay. So practically, we'll see that. Fine. Centralized control of AWS access means, for example, one more example I give. One of the engineer resigned, put down resignation, right? So when the person is living from the organization, okay, so by the time what we will do, we can remove all the access slowly. Okay, so in the root, in the console, as a senior DevOps engineer, what we will do, we apply permissions centrally. Centrally, we don't go with user. User is somewhere. User is in Europe or US. We can manage centrally. No need to go with user. Go to the users, right? So we can centrally manage users. When we apply centrally, that will reflect to the users. Okay. Yeah. So this is centralized control of AWS account. First important feature. Second one is, which is very, very important, interview question also. So identity federation. Identity federation. What is federation? What is federation, anyone? Federation. It's a federation is a alliance, relations, right? Yeah. So where we use this federation? So when we use IAM account to log in console, along with the IAM account, username, password, we have to use 12-digit number, security check code. When we log in as a user, IAM user, along with the username, password, we use security check code, 12-digit number, right? So yeah, and also as a DevOps engineer, what we will do, we can log in our subscription. So don't confuse here. Subscription means account, right? We log in our account. In real-time projects, what we will do, every project team will have one account. As a DevOps engineer, we log in our account. Every project team will have one account. Account means subscriptions, different subscriptions, right? So whenever any project team required cloud servers, what we will do, we create one account, and in that account, we can create some servers, hand over to project team. So why we need to create accounts, different accounts? Why we need to create different accounts? To control the budget, right? So for example, all the customers are using same console. One customer using higher services, one customer using less services. So costing will be confused. We cannot control costing. So when we create one account and hand over to project team, within that account, whatever service they want to use, they can use. Within that account, they get the bill, they get the billing. So that is very easier to identify. So normally in apartments, what will happen? For example, 20 flats are there in apartment. So one flat members are using higher, more water consumption, more water. They are consuming more water. One flat is using less water. Only 2 people are there in one flat. They are less water consuming. One family is 10 members are. They are using more water. How can we control that? How can we identify that? Who is using? Which how many units they are using? How can we identify them? Currently, the association, the apartment associations, they are configuring water meters, right? Water meters. So as per their requirement, they can use the water. As per their usage, they get some reading. Based on that reading, we can identify the billing, right? So in our apartment, that was happened. Okay, so 4 years back, 4 years back, yeah, everyone using water, so bill is getting used to get more, right? But so one family is like one flat is 1 member, 2 members, other flats 10 members, 8 members, like. So by the time, so people are getting more bill, everyone equally getting the bill. So when we configure meters, now it is fine. Whatever water we are using, we are getting the bill, right? So the same way in identity federation, what we will do, so every project will have one account, one subscription. In that account, whatever services they use, they get the bill. Okay, so that is one reason. And also one more thing. Yeah. So federation, when the federation is enabled, what will happen? So we are using internal communicators in real-time projects. We are using internal communicators to communicate the team members, like Skype for Business, Teams applications, right? Different communicators we use, right? Yeah. So for internal communication only, when the federation is enabled, what we will do, by using internal communicators, we can communicate external users. Got it, right? So by using Teams, for example, Teams application, one of the internal application, Microsoft Teams, to communicate internal team members, we use this Teams, right? So by using this Teams, we can communicate external users also when the federation is enabled. So federation is enabled in network level. That will be taken care by AWS. Okay. Yeah. So in our project, in our previous project, we have a local data center. Dell servers are there in the data center. Dell servers, HP servers, right? So when any server else is having an issue, hardware issue, we used to raise the case with Dell vendor, right? So when we raise the case with vendor, they used to revert one email. So we have received the ticket. So we are checking the issue. We visit your data center. Like that, they used to reply. So by the time, so when we get that email, in that email, that engineer name is available, right? Engineer name will be available. So by using that name, we used to ping them, we used to charge them. So this is very critical production server. Could you please check and resolve the issue, right? Yeah, and also we used to handle, yeah, in our previous project, we used to handle Azure platform. So when any Azure services are down or any major issues happened, we used to raise a case with the Microsoft. Azure is Microsoft product, right? So we used to raise a case with the Microsoft. So when we raise a case with Microsoft, when they receive the ticket or request, they used to reply. So we have received your request. We are working on this. We resolve the issue. We'll update. So by the time we used to chat with them. So this is very critical production server, very urgent. So yeah, business is impacted, right? So could you please check and resolve the issue? Like that, we used to communicate. So because how can we communicate? So I am working with Capgemini, for example, right? I used to communicate with Microsoft. So internal communicator I'm using from Capgemini internal communicator through, I'm communicating Microsoft team members. How it will be allowed? When federation is enabled. So backend federation is enabled, we can communicate external users. This will allow, right? So yeah, my elder brother is working with UST Global in Bangalore. So he's working with Airbus client, Airbus. He used to ping me through Teams. I used to ping him through Teams because federation enabled, right? So this will be bypass your access. So when we enable federation, we can communicate. Even though from Outlook also you can communicate email, you can send emails. It will allow. So normally this federation is enabled for only DevOps engineers, cloud engineers, and data center engineers. Developers, testers will not have access. Okay. So federation is very, very important. So you will get a question, interview question. What is identity federation? What is federation? Federation is nothing but alliance, relations. Okay. So when the federation is enabled, we can communicate through internal communicator to external users. This is very, very important. Okay. Yeah. Next one, third one. Third feature here is eventually consistent. What is eventually consistent? So IAM services is eventually consistent. IAM services eventually consistent as it achieves high availability by replicating the data across the regions. So this is a global service. This is global service. IAM is a global service. So once you create user in APAC region, Mumbai region, that will replicate to all the regions. So when you switch to Americas region, you are working here in India, right? You switch to Americas region, same credentials you can use, right? So IAM account is globally available once you create this. This is global service. S3 also global service, right? S3. Same way, IAM also global service. So once you create account in any region, that will replicate to all the regions. That is nothing but eventually consistent, right? Next one, fourth one. Multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication, right? So yeah, so as we discussed, from our account to user account, customer account, we can switch. For example, I explained you like different accounts. So we log in our account, we can create one account and hand over to project team. In that account only, they can create the resources, right? So if you want to switch from your account to other account, you require multi-factor authentication, right? So why we need to switch to other account? If any issues happen in that account, right, we can switch to others account using multi-factor authentication. So how can we switch? Yeah, when we want to enable multi-factor authentication, so we have to download one application, Google application, Google Authenticator in our mobile. So that will provide you one 4-digit number when you want to switch to other accounts. By using that, you can switch to other account, Google Authenticator. Okay, yeah, these are the features. So eventually, yeah, identity federation, multi-factor authentication, these two are important. Okay, so we get some interview questions on this. What is identity federation? What is multi-factor authentication? So when you want to switch to customer account from your account, we require multi-factor authentication. So we require one Google Authenticator. In that one authentication will be authentication ID will be generated that we have to use to we can use to switch other account, right? So these are the important features available in IAM.
Sir,
Yeah, go ahead, please. Yes.
yeah, two-way authentication also comes under multi-factor authentication only.
Which authentication? Can you come again?
Two-way authentication, like we'll
Two-way
use
authentication.
the.
No, not two-way. Customer, they cannot switch to our account. So as a DevOps engineer, we can switch to others account, other customer account. Two-way it will not be happening. Two-way not that. Only one way. We can switch to customer account. That's it. So we are creating the account. We are hand over to project team. So if any issues happened in that account, we can switch to other account and we can check. Which is nothing but subscriptions. Account is nothing but subscriptions. Okay.
So if we
Subscription
understand
is there.
correctly, yeah, if we understand correctly, to use our account, we need only our credentials. But if we would like to access anybody else's account as a DevOps engineer, so I have to have another authenticator which will generate a unique code to me, and I have to provide that code to access anybody else's account in addition with my credentials, or only that code itself is sufficient.
Yes, that is sufficient. Yes. No need to have other credentials. You can use your credentials along with that authenticator required to switch to other account, to switch to other subscription. That's it.
Okay.
Okay. Now,
Is this multi-factor authentication is like any disk?
okay. Don't compare with that. Any
No,
disk
no. So
is
I must say, so only one code, any disk code is enough to ac access the other system. So the same way is this?
no. We don't access other system.
No, no. So
So
I mean,
within the
I'm taking the
same.
examples. Okay,
Yes. Yeah. Example is fine. Yeah, that is true. The same way. So in the same AWS account, we can create different subscriptions. So for example, this is our account, AWS account, right? So subscriptions, different subscriptions will be there. So here we cannot check in the test lab. Okay. So different accounts. Okay. So currently we are using our subscription here, our account only, our account. This is our account.
Okay.
But number of accounts will be there, number of subscriptions. Yeah, in any platform, not only AWS, not only Azure, not only GCP. Any platform, different subscriptions will be there, right? So we are using our account here, but every project will have their own account, right? So in that account only they can create the resources, they can use the resources. So when we check the billing, we can easily identify the billing, right? Yeah. Yeah, someone saying like AnyDesk, right? AnyDesk is here. For example, if I want to connect your system, I use we can use the AnyDesk. One code will be generated, right? That when we enter that code, I can see your screen, I can operate your screen. Same way, but within the same console only, different accounts. Okay. Yeah. Now let us go and create one IAM user. Okay, we can create one IAM user and we can apply some permissions to IAM user and we can switch to IAM user and we can check that how it will go, right? Yeah. Now, so as we discussed, IAM is a global service. Okay. Now, see here. Now I'm in EC2. It is showing Ohio, right? So go to services, security, identity, and compliance. Click on this. Go down here. See here, IAM. Once you click on IAM, this will be changed to global, right? Click on IAM. See here, this is global service. Okay. Yeah. Now this is a IAM dashboard. In IAM dashboard, so I have users, 3 users, groups, roles, policies, identity providers, different things are there. Okay. Now click on users. So 3 users are there. Here we have 3 users. Okay. Now I want to create one user. I want to create one user here. So click on add users. Click on add users. Now I want to give username DevOps user1. DevOps user1. Now see here. So select AWS credentials type, access key, programmatic access. If you want to create user for developer, so we have to select this because AWS API, CLI, SDK, these are all developer tools, developer consoles. SDK means software development kit, command line interface, AWS API, application program interface. These are all developers tools, right? So we don't select this. So we can select AWS management console access for a DevOps engineer. Okay. Select this second one, go down here. So auto generated password. So if you select this, automatically password will be generated. So we have to select custom one, custom password, right? So you have to give the custom password here. Small letters, capital letters, numbers, special characters. Combination of that, you can create the password. Right? Yeah. Now, next one, require password reset. So if you select this, if you check this, what will happen? Next time when user login into the system, when user login into the console, so it will ask you to change the password. You have to uncheck this. So normally real-time projects, we check this. So we give default password. When he log into the console, we'll ask you to change the password. He can give his own password, right? So now we can uncheck here. Okay. Next one, click on next. Yeah, next one is set permissions. We can give later also. This permissions we can give later also. Click on next. Key name. DevOps user 1. Click on next. Review and create. So DevOps user 1. Right. So click on create user. Now user is created. DevOps user 1 is created. Right. See here. So when we create the user, one URL is generated here. See here. So in this we have one 12-digit number. This is security check code. When we log in as a user, we have to use that code, right? So just copy this URL. To log in, we can use this URL, or else you can directly enter the login ID password. I'll show you both. Okay. So copy this URL. So this is my, I logged in as a root in the Chrome browser. You can use other browser for user. So when you use the same browser, you will be confused. That is why I'm using other browser for user. Okay, just paste here that you will enter. So I want to log in as a user. So before login, see here one 12-digit number. This is security check code. Showing I am username DevOps user 1 password, custom password. Enter. Now I'm able to log in to the console. Same console I'm logging here. Same whatever console we have. See here. This is the DevOps user 1. This is another user. Okay, different user. Now, so this DevOps 1 user is not, DevOps user 1 is not having any permissions. We just created the user. We haven't given any permissions. Now, what I will do, so I want to check the S3 buckets using DevOps user 1. Click on S3. Here, what it is saying? It is saying no buckets. It is saying no buckets, right? Yeah. So because this user is not having read-only permissions, we haven't provided any permissions to the user. But here root side, when you go and check in the S3, is able to see the buckets which are available. 3 S3 buckets are available, right? But user side, there is no buckets, not showing anything. Can you mute everyone? Some background noise is coming here. Yeah. Now, so I want to apply some permissions to user. I want to give some permissions to user. Now go back to root side. This is user, DevOps user 1. Go to root side. Now go to IAM as a root user. Now click on users. Open your user. So what I'm doing centrally, I'm managing here. Centrally, I'm applying the permissions. Click on DevOps user 1. Now I want to give some permissions to the user, right? So this is DevOps user 1. Click on add permissions. Click on add permissions here. Once I click on users, click on the DevOps user 1. After that, click on add permissions. Now attach existing policies directly. So this we have to use. Click on this. Now I want to give S3 read-only access. S3 read-only access I want to give. Amazon S3 read-only access. Select this. Click on next. Add permissions. Click on add permissions. Once I add these permissions, S3 read-only access. So user will get read-only access. Now go back to user side, other browser. Click on this. Refresh here. Click on refresh this. Is able to see the buckets, right? See here, DevOps user 1 is able to see the S3 buckets. Now he's trying to create S3 bucket. As a user, is trying to create S3 bucket. Can he create or not? We applied read-only permissions, right? So can he create buckets or not? No, it will not be allowed because he's having read-only access, right? So now he's trying to create the S3 bucket. Click on create bucket. Bucket name, something you can give. Default region and object ownership. ACLs disabled. You can keep as is. Block all public access, right? So uncheck this. Acknowledge. Go down. Click on create bucket. See here? Fail to create bucket. To create a bucket, S3 create bucket permissions are required. So there is no permissions, right? So that is why it's unable to create the bucket. Now go back to root side. This is root X. Now again I want to add some permissions. Click on add permissions. Attach existing policies directly. Search here S3 full access. I want to give S3 full access. Select here. Click on next. Add permissions. Click on add permissions. Now I give S3 full access, right? So go back to user side, DevOps user one. Yeah. Now click on buckets, create bucket. You can give some bucket name, right? Uncheck public access, acknowledge. Now you can click on create bucket. So you can create the bucket. It will allow you to create the bucket as a user because we gave full access on S3. Services wise, we can give the permissions, right? So we don't give full access. Services wise, S3 permissions, EC2 permissions, VPC permissions, auto scaling permissions, like that. Services wise, we can give access. Okay. Now it's able to create the S3 bucket, right? You can delete the bucket, you can create the bucket, whatever you want to do. You can do, you can perform. Delete S3 bucket.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah. Yes, please.
So for each and every service, exclusively, do we need to give the you know, I mean permissions? So if we don't give any permissions, will it be act as a read-only permission, or for
No.
read-only also we have to give permissions exclusively?
Yes, we have to provide at least read-only permissions. Then only we can see the services.
Okay, by default, nothing will get added to the user.
Yes, by default, nothing will be added. Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Now I want to delete this S3 bucket by as a user. This user is able to delete the bucket, right? Yeah. So normally in real-time projects, what will happen? We don't give permissions to individuals. We don't apply permissions to individuals. For example, so 500 users are there in the project, in the organization. So each and every person, we cannot give individual access. So what we will do in real-time projects? Normally, what we will do in real-time projects? Any admins? How can we apply the permissions? We'll see.
We can create the groups, and according to the groups, we can assign the privileges for each and every group.
Right? So instead of giving permissions to individuals, what we will do? We can create one group. Yeah, we can add that users into group. We can apply the permissions to group, so that whatever users, whoever users available in the group, they will get all the permissions. Whatever group we created, so whatever permissions we apply to the group, those will be applied to the users. In real-time projects, we create multiple groups. Okay. Yeah. Now go back to root side. This is user side, right? Go back to root side. This is a root account. Now I want to create one group and I want to apply permissions to group. I can add that user into group. So that what will happen, we'll see, right? So click on user groups. So this is cloud group. One group is there already. I want to create one more group. Click on create group, which is the DevOps group. DevOps. Now I want to add that user into group. This user, DevOps user, I want to add into DevOps. Select this user. Click on create group. Yeah. Now two groups are there. Cloud group, DevOps group. In the DevOps group, DevOps user is available, right? Yeah. So still it is creating. Wait for 1 minute. Group is creating. Fine. So group is created. Permissions not defined. We haven't given any permissions. User is added into the DevOps group, right? Now go back to user side. Now this user, you want to check the EC2 instances. This user is added into what's this DevOps group, right? So now click on EC2 services EC2. As a DevOps user 1, you want to check the EC2 services here. When he check EC2 services, is getting API errors. When you click on EC2, when you open dashboard, is getting API errors. You cannot see any instances, elastic IPs, key pairs, nothing is there here. Because is added to DevOps group, that group is not having any permissions, right? Now what I will do, I want to apply permissions to the group. So root side, go to group side, click on group, open this group. Now I want to apply some permissions to this group, DevOps group, right? Now click on permissions, add permissions, click on add permissions, attach policies, click on attach policies. Now you can search here EC2. I want to give EC2 permissions to the group, this group, DevOps group. So Amazon EC2 read-only access I want to give. Select this. Now click on add permissions. Now I added some permissions like EC2 read-only access to the DevOps group, right? Yeah. Now go back to user side. This is user browser, right? So click on this, refresh here. Once you refresh this errors will be gone. So here now is able to see key pairs, snapshots, volumes, security groups, right? Yeah, this user is having EC2 access because this user is added into DevOps group, right? So as a user is going to create one EC2 instance, is trying to create one EC2 instance. Click on launch instance, instance name, test server, Amazon Linux only, right? So keep your existing keeper you can use. Security group also existing security group you can use.
You don't use the existing servers.
You can use. If we have few permissions, definitely can use. You can start, stop, whatever existing servers are there. So we gave read-only permissions on EC2. So he's trying to create one server. Can he create or not? We are trying to understand. Okay. Yeah. Now click on launch instance. See here. It's getting error. Instance launch failed. You are not authorized to perform this operation. Right? It's not having permissions here. That is why it's unable to create the server. Right? Yeah. Now go back to root side. And yeah, this is the group, right? So now I want to add full permissions on EC2. Click on add permissions, attach policies. search EC2 full access. Select EC2 full access. Click on add permissions. Now I applied EC2 full access to the group, right? Now go back to user side. Now instances, launch instance. It's time to create instance now. Keep here, test keep here. Security group. Click on launch instance. See here, is able to create the server. Now is able to create, right? So server is in running state. Server is launched. So it can operate anything in the EC2 because we gave EC2 full permissions to the group, right? Yeah, you can terminate the server, you can stop servers, you can start servers. So you can delete the servers, whatever you want to do. You can perform. So because we gave EC2 full access to the group. So whoever users added into DevOps group, they will get full access on EC2, right? You can terminate the server.
Yeah, I had a one question for.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in real-time projects, right, we will have the developers and different roles are right. So what are the by default permissions that will give to that particular users in groups?
Yeah.
Suppose if the developers are there, right, we'll create a developer group. In that group, what were the permissions that we assign for the developer and DevOps engineer and the remaining other roles?
Yeah. So developers group normally for developers, we don't give any full access, right? Edit permissions we can edit and read permissions. Okay. So they can check the servers. Even though sometimes what we will do, even though we don't provide access on EC2 AWS console to the developers. So they directly log in servers. They directly log in servers using PuTTY or other interfaces. Okay. So some developers, some senior developers will provide access on AWS console. So by the time we don't give full access, we give only edit access, read and edit access. Okay. So we don't provide full access. If you provide full access, sometimes they delete the servers. So terminate the servers, creating servers, that is our role. Developers, we don't provide that role, right? So different roles we can customize. I'll show you that roles also. Okay. Existing roles we can assign to the groups, or else we can create customized roles also. Okay, we'll see that. Fine. Now this user is able to create server, terminate the server. Existing servers also can operate. So for example, this server is not required now. Is trying to terminate as a user. Terminate instances. You can terminate. Is having full permissions on EC2, right? Yeah. So this is one console only, right? All the users will log into same console. Right. Now, yeah. So go back to root side. So groups, users we discussed. All right. Yeah. Next one, roles. See here. So these are all roles, different roles. AWS backup default service role, AWS service role for Amazon Elastic File System, AWS service role for auto scaling, AWS service role for backup, AWS service role for support. Different roles are there, right? So whatever roles you want to assign to the users or groups, you can assign here. So users directly don't assign, or else if you want to create custom roles means in one role we can give different accesses: EC2 access, S3 access, and EBS access if you want to. Like that, custom roles also you can create using custom roles. Create custom role, right? Yeah. So next one, policies. So these are all policies. If you want to apply any policies to the groups, you can apply policies, different policies. For example, here, AWS Marketplace full access. This is one of the policy. Yeah. So client VPN service role policy. That is one policy. Different policies can apply to the groups. You can select these policies and you can apply. Click on policy, select that, apply. Right? So next one, identity providers. What is this? Yeah. So make it is easier, easy to centrally manage access to multiple AWS accounts. What does it mean? So normally in real-time projects. So along with that normal users, vendors also available. In real-time projects, vendors also available. Vendors means Wipro employees go and work with Microsoft. Capgemini employees go and work with Microsoft or Google. Right? So they are vendors. They will work as a vendor. They will have different access. Normal user, permanent employees will have different access. Vendors will have different access. That we can define using this identity providers. Okay. Next one, account settings. This is the most important. Account settings. So every project team, they maintain some password policies, right? So banking domains, insurance domains, they will have different customized passwords. Password length is different. Password policy is different, right? So now click on change password policy. See here, set password policy. So enforce the minimum password length. By default, it is showing 8 characters. You can give 11 characters if you want. Okay. So require at least one uppercase letter from Latin alphabet. So when you are giving password, if you want to assign, if you want to set one policy like uppercase, you can select this. Require at least one lowercase. Require at least one number. Require at least one non-alphabetic special character. Right? So enable password expiration. See here. What is this? So after 90 days, password will be expired. So normally when we log in net banking, after 3 months, password will be expired. Password, it will ask you to change the password. So before 10 days, it will send you some pop-ups, email, like some alerts. So please change your password. Otherwise, password will be locked, right? So you can set 90 days or 60 days or 30 days, whatever, right? Yeah. Required expiration, required password expiration, required administrator reset. So administrator, if you allow this, administrator can reset. If you allow this, administrator can reset the password. Allow users to change their own passwords. Users can change when you allow. Prevent password reuse. Last 5 passwords we cannot reuse, right? You can increase to 8 passwords or 10 passwords. So like this, you can customize. So we used to handle one project, which is DBS project, Singapore project. DBS is the bank, right? So we set policies like this in DBS project. 11 characters password length, right? And 60 days password expiration, 60 days, right? So 8 to last password, they cannot reuse. Last 8 passwords, it will not accept, right? So like this, as per the project standards, we can set the password policy, right? Any questions here? And one more important thing is there. Go back here. Yeah, cancel this. I don't want to apply this. Cancel this. One more important one is credential report. Click on this. This report is very, very important. So click on download report. Yeah, open this report. See here. In this report, all user data is available. All user data. Sometimes what will happen? User accounts will be locked, right? When the user account is locked, so managers, architects, they will check this report, right? See here, username, ARN ID, user creation time, password enabled, password last used, password last changed, Password next to rotation. MFA active or not? What is MFA?
Multi-factor authentication.
Right. Multi-factor authentication is enabled or not? Right? Yeah. Next one. Access key active or not? Like this. So all the users, for example, 100 users are there, or 50 users are there. All user information is available here. So in this, whenever user account is locked, we can, yeah, senior DevOps engineers or architects, managers, they will check this report. In this report, we'll get information, right? So currently it is showing not available, right? But in real-time console, it will show you all the information. Fine. So these are the important things available in IAM. So if you are a senior DevOps engineer, you have to maintain this. You have to create users. You have to apply the permissions to users. So whenever user is leaving from the project, you have to remove the access. So once the engineer is leave from the project, you should not delete the user immediately. We have to stop the access. Sometimes what will happen? Last day also revokes will be happened, right? Revoke. That user will revoke to project. So that is why we should not delete. Once left from the company, after 15 days, we have to delete the user. After 15 days. Sometimes revokes will be happened. That is why we should not delete the users immediately. After 15 days only, once we get confirmation from management, then only we have to remove the users. Fine. Yeah. So these are the concepts in IAM. So IAM is very important concept. If you are a senior DevOps engineer, you have to follow this process. Okay. Yeah. Any questions, anyone?
Yeah, I have one doubt here. So normally all this like we are doing in root user only, but not in IAM user, right?
Yes. Correct.
Okay. So if I want to do all these things, means I need to have a root credentials.
No.
So
Basically, yeah, just a minute. In real-time projects, root will be disabled. We don't use root. So as a senior DevOps engineer, you will have full control, full access. You have to use IAM account only, right? You will be having full access. You can control the users. You can control the services, right?
okay, you mean to say that in IAM also we can get that like permissions to enable and do all these edits, right?
Yes. Yes.
Not only the
Correct.
root user, but the root user can give the credentials to IAM as well.
Correct.
Yeah,
For
got it.
example, 10 engineers are there. 10 engineers are using root user, for example, I'm saying. So who is doing what? How can we identify? Someone is deleting servers, someone is creating servers. How can we identify? By using IAM account, we can identify that, right? That is why in real-time projects, so root will be disabled. Everyone should use IAM account only, right? Yeah. Now, next service, which is a cloud trail. One more service.
Yeah, I had a one more doubt as well. So suppose when we create the user, right? Suppose the user is an organization, so we have the LDAP access for that one. In that case, how I can create an user in AWS?
Means LDAP users can be accessed to AWS console. Same user. LDAP, new term. Don't confuse anyone. Okay. So when
Yeah.
you join into the project, you get one user account, which is LDAP account. LDAP means lightweight directory access service. LDAP full form is lightweight directory access, right? So when you join into the project, you get one user, which is LDAP user. Okay. That user you can add into AWS console. You don't need to create new user. The same user you can add into AWS.
Yeah, how can you can use the means how can we can add that user means in the user creation there will be any other to search that particular
Right.
user?
So we'll be having SSO that will be given the KT. So don't worry. SSO single sign-on will be there. Single
Okay.
sign-on will be there. Don't
Mm.
confuse here. Okay. So you'll get KT. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Fine.
Yeah. Fine.
Yeah. Now, one more thing, one small thing I want to show you here. So here I want to log out here as a root user. Click on sign out. I want to log in as a IAM user in the main console. Okay. So this account I want to close. Other browser I used, right? This I want to close. Now here I want to log in as a user, right? Okay. If you want to log in as a user, we require 12-digit number. Just a minute. First I get that 12-digit number, then only I try to log. First I log in as a root user. See here. This is the 12-digit number. This you have to take first. Just copy this. Notepad. Save this. This ID required, 12-digit number required. Copy this. Now go back to log out here, sign out here, and log in as a IAM account. Sign into the console. Select IAM account. Select IAM account. In case of root user, you can select IAM user. Now here, what we have to give? 12-digit number. Click on next. Now you can give user ID, DevOps user 1, and password. Custom password, whatever password we give. Click on sign in. This is how you can log in real-time console. So using IAM account only, we have to log in. Should not use root account. Always use IAM user only. IAM account, right? Yeah.
Hello. Here I'm just having a similar doubt. So we are logging in as IAM user, right? So in that one you mentioned
Yes.
like we need to have multi MFA, like multi-factor authentication, right? So
Yes.
is this the same thing or it is any like different? You
No,
said that we
not
need to
like
enter
that.
the 12 digit.
So this is my root account, right?
So
So from this root account, so one IAM option will come in licensing version. So in that,
okay.
directly can switch to that account, the same console. No need to sign out. No need to sign out. Within that account, you can switch to other account. Okay.
Okay. So can we see that or do we need only in real time only we can see that?
So IAM option will not come here. So one MFA, yeah. So that is in licensing version we will get. Here MFA will not be available. It is not showing here. In licensing subscription only will get that subscription level. So this is free account.
Okay.
That is why we are not getting.
Okay. Why?
Okay.
Because in real time, we will be using that same thing only, right? Because if you
Yes,
want
same
to
thing.
log into other accounts, we will be doing that only.
Yes, we'll get KT. So when you
Okay.
join to the project, you'll get all the KT. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Next concept here is cloud trail, AWS cloud trail. What is cloud trail? So what is the use of this, right? And in real-time projects, where we use this, we'll try to understand. So cloud trail is a monitoring tool. Cloud trail is a monitoring tool. So we have another tool also, monitoring tool, which is CloudWatch. Okay. So cloud trail, CloudWatch, two monitoring tools are there. In Linux environments, we use Nagios. Nagios to monitor the infrastructure as well as applications. But here we use in AWS we use CloudWatch and CloudTrail. So what is CloudTrail? It is a monitoring tool which will monitor your AWS console. CloudTrail is a monitoring tool which will monitor your AWS console, right? So why we require monitoring? Why we require monitoring? So this will monitor AWS console. CloudWatch will monitor your infrastructure, your servers, your storage, your network. But CloudTrail will monitor your AWS console, right? Yeah. So why we required console monitoring? Because, yeah. So for example, we are working on AWS console, right? So I log in AWS console. I'm working on some activities. So some servers are deleted due to some issue or something. So why the servers are deleted? If you want to identify, you can go through the logs, monitoring logs, right? And who is doing what? How can we check using CloudTrail? And also, for example, we are working with one client, US client. We are handling US client account, AWS account. So in last month, some major bill happened. Unnecessary bill happened. So client asks you to provide the justification. Client asks you to provide the justification. Why this much of bill is happened? Right? We can go through the monitoring. You can get all the logs. You can check all the logs. Why the bill is happening? More bill is happening. So AWS CloudTrail will provide you all the logs, all the information. Right? So this is mainly for client audits. So we are working with client projects. Client will audit sometimes, right? So we used to handle one project as we discussed, DBS project, Singapore project. So DBS is a bank, Singapore bank. So that DBS team used to visit our office every quarterly. By the time they used to provide, they used to ask this logs, why this much of bill is happening, how you are maintaining our consoles, how you are protecting our servers. They used to ask. By the time we can directly open CloudTrail, we can showcase the logs, whatever logs, right? So this is mainly for CloudTrail. This is mainly for client audits. CloudTrail will provide you console monitoring, entire console it will monitor. Whatever we are doing, operations, everything will be provided by CloudTrail, right? So this is simple monitoring tool. We'll see that. Yeah. Now go to console. If you want to check CloudTrail, go to services. Yeah. Management and governance. Click on this. See here, CloudTrail. Click on CloudTrail. Click on dashboard. Right. Yeah, this is my CloudTrail dashboard. So these are the event history, events. So go to event history, click on this event history. These are all events. These are all events, different events, right? So see here, even date also, time also available, date and time. So now, so as a root, when I log in my console, it will show you. When I log in first time today when I log in, it will show you. So just go down here. See here, start instance. On September 8th, 7:24, I logged into my console and I started my instance, one instance. And stop instance, I stopped instance. So Ansible is going on in 7 a.m. batch, right? I started a Ansible server, I stopped the server. So create bucket. When we get the bucket, timestamps here, 8:34. As a DevOps user, we created the bucket, right? See here, create the bucket, delete the bucket, run instance as a DevOps user 1, terminate instances, right? So all the logs, whatever operations we performed in the console, right? For example, 10 engineers are there. 10 engineers are working on same console. So with that username, it will show you. Yeah. For example, create bucket, right? So open this log, click on this log. See here, event time. So September 8th, 8:34, user DevOps user 1. He performed create bucket, right? So event source S3, AWS access key, this is the access key, source IP address, event ID, request ID, region, default region, which region, right? Yeah, like this, all the information will show you, right? So whenever you want to track using this CloudTrail, you can track, right? Yeah, so these events, whatever events are there, these events will be available until 90 days only. Here, so these events, if you want to download events, so different formats are there. CSV format, JSON format, different formats. You can download these events. Okay, and also if you want to customize this dashboard, customize. For example, here we have 5 columns only. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you want to increase some columns here, how can we increase? Go to settings. I want to add a event type, AWS key, access key, event ID, read only, resource name. I want to add. Click on confirm. See here, few more columns added here. See here, few more columns. You can customize as per your requirement. Okay, yeah. Now these logs available until 90 days as discussed, right? Yeah, go ahead please. Yes.
Yeah. So you are seeing all these transactions because you are a root user, right? So
Yes.
if I logged in as a DevOps user 1 in my console or with my credentials, so I can see only my events, right, in the history, or will it cover everything there?
If you are a senior DevOps, you will get all the logs. You can see all the logs. So normal users will not have access on this CloudTrail. CloudTrail will not provide access. We don't provide access for normal users. Only managers, architects, senior DevOps users, they will get this access. They will monitor.
Oh, okay. Actually, CloudTrail is also another service, right, in AWS front. So we can give access to anyone else, or only if you say only senior engineer can only have the access. Is that the guideline, or this is wantedly we are doing it?
For example, one fresher joined the project. Only we provide EC2 access. That is immediate access only. Full access we don't provide. Okay. So freshers will have a different group. In that group, we can add the users, right? So as per their permissions, as per these policies, they can work on the services. We don't provide all the services, right? So senior DevOps engineers, we provide VPC access, EC2 access, S3 access, right? And auto scaling access like that. So based on approvals and experience, we can provide access. Okay. So freshers, 2-3 years experience guys, we don't provide all the access. If they delete any servers, any services, very difficult to handle that. So we can recover that. So backups will be there. That is big challenge, right? So that is why as per his approvals, as per his access, like experience, we can provide the access. You understand, right? I think Sunita.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Fine. Now, so this logs available until 90 days only. But so from today morning I logged in this console at 7:24, right? 7:24 I started one instance. So from 7:24 till now, so these many logs generated. See here, this many logs generated. But if 10 people are working on the same console, per day 200 logs or 300 logs, 500 logs will be generated. So all the logs we cannot download every time. So sometimes what will happen? So client asks you to provide 6 months back logs also. Yeah, 6 months. Last February. Yeah, February month, some issues happened. I required that logs. Can you provide? How can we provide? This logs available until 90 days only, right? So if you want to provide the last 1 year back logs, last year September logs required. How can we provide? Right? So all the logs we cannot download. That is big challenge. That is why what we will do, we create some trails. Trails means what will happen here? So whatever logs are generating here, those directly we can save in S3 bucket. Right? Whatever logs are generating, that logs directly we can save in S3 bucket. So when we save in S3 bucket, that will be available until 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, until you delete your S3 buckets. That will be available permanently until you delete your S3 buckets. Because so whenever client asks you to provide 1 year back logs or 2 years back logs, we cannot provide. So when you create trails, when you save in S3 buckets, so whenever client is required, you can open that S3 bucket, you can showcase, right? So that is why now what we will do, we can create trails. Click on create trails, click on trails. So one trail is already there. Side, I want to delete this. Yeah, now I want to create trail. Create trail, click on this. Trail name, I can give cloud trail. Yeah, see here. Create new S3 bucket or use existing S3 bucket. Okay, I want to use existing one. If you want to create S3 bucket from here, you can create. So now I want to select existing bucket. Now click on browse. See here, this is our S3 bucket. Select this, choose. Yeah, now, yeah, enable SSC KMS encryption. Encryption not required. So whatever logs you are saving in S3 bucket, if you want to encrypt means you can protect that. No one can read that. Encryption not required here. Okay, I can disable this. Now, additional settings, log file validation, you can keep as is. SNS notification delivery. SNS means simple notification service, one of the service. While working on that service, I'll show you. So if you want to enable notifications, you can enable here. Okay, and also CloudWatch logs. If you want to enable CloudWatch here, you can enable. Right now, tags name cloud type. Click on next. See here, event types, which events you want to save in S3 bucket. So management events, data events, insight events, all the events I want to save. Select all events. Now, yeah, data event type, you have to select S3 here. Okay, now click on next. You can read your data here, whatever values you give. If you want to edit, you can edit here. Name, cloud trail, trail log location. This is the log location. So where you want to save your logs. This is the location. S3 bucket. Log file validation enabled. Multi-region trail. Yes, different regions you can save. Multi-region trails. Log file. Yeah, this is not enabled. Okay, so you can check this. You can review this, and you can click on create trail. So here now cloud trail is created. Trails are created. Trails. So once you create the trail, from now onwards, whatever logs are generating, those will be directly saved into S3 bucket, right? Yeah. Now go back to S3 bucket. Open this S3. See here, AWS logs. Click on this. This is a ID. So currently Yeah, click on CloudTrail. Nothing is there. Nothing is there, right? So now it started generating the logs. Now what I will do, I operate something. I want to operate something so that some logs will be generated. It will take some time, 2 to 3 minutes it will take to generate logs once we operate something. Now what I will do, secure groups. If I operate anything, some logs will be generated. That is why I'm operating something. So go to dashboard, instances. Okay, this instance not required. You can delete this, not required this, and so it's dashboard. Let us go and check. So it will take some time. Wait for 2 minutes. Definitely logs will be generated. Go to S3. Go to S3 backend. Database logs. Click on ID. Click on CloudTrail. So nothing is there. Yeah, wait 1 or 2 minutes. Just 1 or 2 minutes you can wait, so that it will be logs will be generated, so that we can check that logs and we can see that how the logs are generated. See here, cloud started generating. Okay. Yeah. So now go back to S3 bucket. So these are the buckets, right? So click on our S3 bucket, AWS logs. So this is ID. So in this, so CloudTrail digest CloudTrail. So in the CloudTrail digits, digest, different regions will show you. Wait for some time. And in the logs, we have AWS log CloudTrail, right? Click on this. See here, it is showing the region. In US East 2 region, some operations we perform, right? So click on this. First, it will show you year, right? So click on year. After that, it will show you month. Click on month. After that, it will show you date. Okay. So click on date. See here, these are the logs. When these logs are generated, September 8th, 9/25, right? So these are the simple logs generating. Okay. So for example, when client asks you to provide this, okay, so directly you can open S3 bucket. No need to go with CloudTrail. So yeah, for example, on June 2nd, some issues happened, for example. So can you showcase that logs? If client asks you to provide, you can check the date and time here. June 2nd, date and time. Directly you can open that, you can showcase to client, right? Yeah, so clients sometimes they will audit the accounts. By the time you have to showcase the logs. If also sometimes what will happen, if any resources deleted, how can we identify? You can check the logs. So with that person name also available, person name, timestamp, right? So on which region, everything will be available. Okay. So CloudTrail will help you to track the whatever operations are happening in AWS console. You can easily track using CloudTrail. Fine. Any questions here? So until you delete these trails, logs will be generated. So this logs also occupy some storage in S3 bucket, right? So once you practice this, you can delete the trails. Otherwise, all the logs will be generated in the S3 bucket. Go to S3, not S3. Go to CloudTrail. Until you stop this, until you delete the trails. So once you delete the trails, logs will be stopped. Okay. So select your CloudTrail and delete. Okay. Any questions here? Anyone? Anyone having any questions on this? This is simple monitoring tool to monitoring your console, AWS console. So tomorrow we'll work on AWS backup and also CloudWatch. CloudWatch is infrastructure monitoring. Okay, so tomorrow that both the services like AWS backup will take 1 hour and the CloudWatch will take 30 minutes. Tomorrow we'll cover. Fine. Yeah. So IAM is very important service. CloudTrail also important service. In IAM, if you get a chance to work on IAM, if you are a senior DevOps engineer, you have to create users, you have to maintain the users, you have to apply permissions to users, right? So these two concepts are very, very important. Everyone should practice, right? So while practicing, if you have any questions, if you have any issues, you can post in the group so that we'll discuss. Fine.
Yeah, I had one question in IAM. So you have told that in one console we can create the multiple users, right? So when we create any user, right, for every user we'll have the unique console, or how we have to add the user which are created into that console?
Not unique console. For example, we are 10 members, team members. We are logging into the same console using your own credentials, different credentials. So all are logged into same console. If you check in the IAM users, all the users available here. Click on this IAM, all 10 users are available here, all users. So In your laptop, you can open the same console. In my laptop, I can open the same console, but different credentials, different logins, different access.
Yeah, but
Right?
when we creating the user, right, by default itself for every user we'll create one console, right?
Console, the same console. Console is not different. Same console.
Suppose in
Account
this
console.
group, yeah, in this we have the you have been logged into the RAM DevOps user, right? So we have created one normal user. So if I create in the another user in the by using the other user also will get the same console or he will get the another console.
Same console. Same console. But different
Okay.
privileges,
Yeah,
different
different
permissions,
privileges.
different.
That is fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks for
different
clarification.
credentials they use. Yeah, the same. Yes. Everyone uses user ID separate.
Separate password, separate user ID.
Separate user ID. Yes. Every engineer will have separate credentials, their own credentials. But console is same. Console is same, right? Fine. Yeah, we stop here. Everyone should practice. So if you have any questions, you can post them. Fine. Yeah. Thank you all.